long were you in youth ministry, like as a youth pastor?
We started in Houston, Texas in '96, and
Yeah.
we were there for 4 years, and then we went from there, and we left in 2000 and went to Ponca City, Oklahoma, and we were there for 8 years. So that was a total
Yeah.
of 12 years before we came to the district office
Yeah.
as DYDs.
What was your biggest mistake as a youth pastor?
Biggest concern?
Mistake. Like you're
Biggest
like, I'm
mistake.
such an idiot. Like,
You know what? I spent too much time with students that didn't care. And I should have given more time to students that did care. I spent too much time trying to pull those in that just weren't ready, just weren't going to do it. But I thought I could, by spending time with them, change their
Right.
perspective. And I realized I couldn't. I realized I wasted a lot of time that would have been more valuable
but
going after some other
I don't think
students.
you can just distinguish like that student doesn't care, because what if it just takes a little more persistence? You know what I mean? Like I just need to spend like another
I know
appointment
now.
with
I
them.
feel like I know
Yeah.
now what it would
Yeah.
take. Like I can usually size people up now, and that's probably just from the experience of ministry of like, okay, I need to give value here, or I don't need to spend a lot of time here, but it might be, hey man, how's it going? Maybe it's,
Right.
you know, of course it's different now because I'm a district youth director. I'm not working with youth, but if I was
Right.
back as a youth pastor, I think it would be easier for me to discern, okay, this kid, he needs a little nudge. This kid, like
Yeah.
he's just not going to get it, and so I'm going to love him, but
Yeah.
I'm going to give my time to these kids over here that are responding.
Yeah.
Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah, totally. But you didn't grow up in a home that went to church. Y'all were very Catholic, and but you start going to church. You start chasing girls, and when I say girls, I just mean Jill. But
That's right. It
you
was just
start
one girl.
you start going to Mustang, and you feel this calling into ministry. How did you tell your parents that didn't have like a worldview of church or ministry or anything like that? Like, because I think there are a lot of students that come through home situations like that,
Sure.
that they don't know how to express what ministry is to their parents, or why they want to work at a church, or why they want to do something like that. So
Right.
how would you coach up that student of, like, what did you do?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and it was an interesting journey. It was very awkward. The word was awkward that I
Yeah,
would use.
yeah.
And it wasn't that my parents were in defiance of me giving my heart to the Lord and serving in the church.
Right.
A couple of things, they just thought I would be poor. I
Yeah.
thought I was going to be in the ministry, I was going to be poor. They thought, well, that's not a real job. You know, you can apply yourself and do something else. But how they, I remember going home and starting to share with them, and they really just kind of looked at me awkwardly. They wasn't like, okay, son, you know. It was just like they shook their head. I don't think they really knew what to do. And it was very awkward for me because I was a student, 17, 18 years old, and I'm sitting here trying to communicate with them, hey, I think this is what I want to do. And they think I'm just a young, you know,
Yeah.
well, he'll grow out of
It's all
that or whatever.
emotional, like you're just
Yeah,
working.
yeah. And I think they even thought it was a little bit cultish at the time. But I just found where I fit and I belonged, and I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to help
Yeah.
people through ministry, however that looks. I just want to be a part of people's lives, walking with people.
Yeah.
And so I really think the biggest thing was just, this sounds like a cliche, but it's not. It really is what I did. I really worked hard at obeying my parents. And there was a few times when they were very intentional about me not going to church, and it frustrated me. But I realized, okay, got a little bit of counsel, and I
Right.
realized I need to honor my parents, I need to love them, I need to do the things they're asking me to do, and God will take care of the other. And he did. I
Yeah.
had some times when my parents made me stay home, and they didn't really have a good reason. They just didn't
Yeah.
probably feel comfortable with me going to church so much. But I did that, you know. I took care of my chores. I did things. I tried not to argue against my parents, which is very hard. You know, most of us teenagers,
Yeah.
when we're teenagers, we go through that. And so I worked really hard on that because I loved the environment of church and I loved people so much. I wanted to be there. So
Yeah.
I was willing to do whatever it took. In this case, it was honoring my parents.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure I truly knew that at the time.
Right.
but that's what happened. And so I hope.
Yeah, no,
you know,
totally. Like, because then once you get into life, once you get into ministry, start doing that, did you ever feel a lull or just kind of this crisis of identity of like, dude, I could totally just do something else, totally be fine. I could lay this aside and totally be fine with it.
Yeah.
What did you do in those seasons of like, I should just hang this up. I need to go get a real job.
Yeah,
Maybe good living.
I still think about that now. Like, I gave everything
Yeah.
to be in the ministry. Like, I went to Bible school, and I don't necessarily think you should do it this way. I think secular degrees are great now. I think it expands your mind. But I really did sell out to doing ministry. Like, I'm not sure what I would do today, maybe being a barista at Starbucks, I think would be really cool because I love talking to people.
Yeah.
But as far as a career, there's really nothing else out there that excites me.
Right.
But I think that's also good because it also motivates me to keep my life in order,
Right.
keep my goals in order, because, man, when you mess up out in the world, there's a lot more opportunity for you to stay in it. When you mess up
Yeah.
in ministry, whatever it is,
You're done. Like, you're
you're done.
ostracized.
Or it marks you to a point that
Yeah.
sometimes you can't recover. And so I don't think I ever had true thoughts of, hey, I want to leave the ministry, I should just go do
Yeah.
this or that.
Yeah.
I think for me, ministry has been it. And that's not to say that other people who have,
Right.
that's fine for them. I think there's people who come in and out of ministry who do different things.
Yeah.
For me, it is kind of a long haul. But, I know it's a long answer, if I was doing it again today, I probably would focus more on a secular degree and utilize like these schools of leadership and other things around me. Because you
Right.
can learn ministry, but still get a great degree
Yeah.
on a secular campus
And
somewhere and,
that's
utilize
the thing,
that.
like, even for me, and you helped walk me through this season of life of just how I thought if I'm going to be in ministry, I have to follow this template.
Right.
I have to go to this school. I have to get this degree. I have to do this internship. I have to be a youth pastor for X amount of years.
Right.
But you walked me through. So if there is a college student right now or a youth pastor that's really just struggling, like, I don't know if this is for me, but I feel like I'd be the bad guy if I left. What
Yeah.
would you tell them?
Oh, that's easy. This is the greatest time to be in ministry, and even the greatest time, I think, in people's lives, because there's so many options. For ministry, you don't have to just go to Southwestern Assemblies of God University or to
Right.
Evangel, although those are great opportunities. There's so many great internships inside of churches with great leaders. There's so many schools of leadership, like the one that was talked about here today, Victory Family. There's so many different options, and that's what's so neat is you think you've got to go this one way in order to get here. You don't.
Yeah.
There's so many people going so many different ways, and what I love is it really comes down to you as a person. What do you want? Are you willing to fight
Yeah.
for that? Are you willing to commit to this because that's what you want? Because
Yeah.
you know, I mean, it's like it is a great example. It's like athletes who play at small colleges.
Yeah.
If you can play, they'll find you, and you're going to go to the NFL. Now, you know, the church world works a little different, but if you're called and that's something you want to
Yeah.
do, there's going to be a place for you in the kingdom of God,
Yeah.
and you don't have to do this or do that in order to get there.